What better way to watch wildlife in Idaho's panhandle lake country than by water? Outfitter Josie Merrithew calls it Goat and Boat. It's a unique arrangement she's dreamed up to allow people to view Idaho's majestic mountain goats from the perspective of, believe it or not, a kayak. Don't let the rain stop you. After all, this is North Idaho. Besides, today's goat and boat trip includes a cruise on the good ship Shawnee, a warm, dry voyage down the length of Lake Pend Oreille. The boat is a classically designed vessel that invites comparisons to the proud old tugboats of the past. She cuts through the water gracefully, pulling up alongside the pier and our family of novice kayakers. The guy in the green raincoat is Phil Cooper. He's with the Idaho Department of Fish and Game. We brought him along to tell us about the goats we're going to see. Anyway, that's what we told him. In reality, we were hoping he'd bring his wife Kathy and their 3 boys. Introducing kids to the wonders of wildlife watching is half the fun. That's Daniel waving at us. At 9, he's the oldest and big enough to be captain of his own kayak. The little guy in the red jacket is 5-year-old Ben. He's the ham of the family and, as you'll see, not at all shy of the camera.
We're going to tow them, and then we're going to go over and pick up the raft. We don't have very many boats today, but sometimes we have as many as 15 boats in the boat.
7-year-old Michael Cooper seems a bit more bashful. He's often off exploring on his own.
There you go.
The 40-foot boat is beautifully designed. Owner and Captain Curtis Pearson did most of the work himself, and it shows in the attention to detail. And for the 3 curious boys, it's a big adventure ship just waiting to be explored.
How do you get in the very tip of the boat?
Well, come here and I'll show you.
Guests are welcomed by the captain's wife and partner, First Mate Linda Mitchell.
That is an emergency exit. Very good. If something were to ever happen, which we don't think that ever would, but if it did, that's a way to get out of the boat. We open that hatch right there, and I'll show you later how that's done.
Is this the longest one?
Topside, the kayaks have all been secured. They trail out behind the boat in a long, colorful row. And we're off. On the bridge, Captain Curtis guides the boat carefully out into the open water. A light, steady rain continues to fall, but it doesn't hamper the view of Lake Pend Oreille. It's a spectacular sight, with low clouds swallowing the tops of the mountains and reflecting in the gray waters. It's even better viewed from the cozy, mahogany-paneled comfort of the bridge.
I always thought if I could stay warm and dry, you can have a good day. And I guess that's the hardest thing. You can convince people that they can stay warm and dry.
It's just under a 2-hour cruise to our destination, and in the warm, dry cabin below, the Cooper kids are busy charting the course.
And where we're going today is a place called Bernard Peak, which is at the very south end of the lake. And when we get there, this is where Bernard Peak is. We're going to see, all along in here, hopefully we're going to see some mountain goats.
Well, that seems easy enough. Simply head south. Move over, Captain Curtis. This is a job for a 7-year-old.
So you pick that spot. Pick a spot on the ground, on the cliff, and you head straight for it. The same spot all the time. You got a spot?
Bernard Peak looms straight ahead, and suddenly all hands are on deck, peering through binoculars, searching for the first sign of goats.
See that white line kind of? That's a mama goat and a baby goat laying down. They're just snoozing up there.
The goats are descendants of animals transplanted here in the early 1960s. Although this is not historic mountain goat habitat, the animals seem to have done quite well.
We don't have any real traditional summer habitat here. This is really low elevation, very atypical habitat for mountain goats, and that's really why they didn't occur here naturally.
In the heat of summer, the goats try and escape the warmth by hiding beneath overhanging rocks. But on a day like today, they're clearly visible as they trot along the trails.
This is an unhunted population primarily because it is a popular wildlife viewing opportunity for folks. People have observed as many as 25 to 30 goats at one time up on the hillside certain times of the day.
The big slide on the right side of like 2 little chocolate dots laying down.
Okay.
It'll be like 2 patches of snow, and it'll be them laying down.
As a teacher, Ben's mom, Kathy, sees more to this trip than just a fun outing for the kids. It's an education.
It's so important for them to experience wildlife instead of just reading about it. And it's so impressionable on them. They take it back to the classroom and they can write about it. They can tell about it. So much more potent than just standing up and giving a report from material that they've read.
And ready to kayak.
Okay, boys, listen up.
Ben?
Okay, we're not going to go too far. We're just going to cruise along the coastline and see if we can get up a little closer to see the goats.
It's the first time kayaking for the whole family, but that doesn't daunt outfitter Josie Merrithew. Most of her novice clients are amazed at how comfortable they feel after a few basic tips, especially kids.
They're really stable, but you can do this with your hips in your kayak, and it's just going to stay right there with your hips. Okay, here's your paddle. Have you paddled before?
Oh, kids do great. They're actually easier first-time paddlers than adults. Once you give them a little education, they get over their little bit of tension that they have, they just take right to it. We have them standing up and tipping them over and climbing back in. They just love it.
Even little Ben gives it a go, power paddling his dad around in their double kayak. But most impressive is 9-year-old Daniel, who takes to paddling like the proverbial duck to water.
You having fun?
Yeah.
It has all the elements of a great day in the outdoors. Fresh air, exercise, wildlife watching, and then the warm, dry haven of the good ship Shawnee when it's over. Are you cold?
It really expands our horizons in terms of trips, so someone coming along has the best of both worlds. They get to go on a classic boat tour of the lake, and then they get to slip off into a little kayak and be the captain of their own boat.